Okay, so today I have more and more problems with my camera, so I'm going to try to do it anyway. If I cannot, I will finish with my iPhone as usually. I really need to buy a new camera. Anyway, today I would like to speak about something a little different. I already made a video about the Gossip Girl, which is a TV show, not brand new, rather old now. I usually don't watch TV. I very rarely go to the cinema. I rarely watch films. I like movies. It's just that I don't really have the time, and I don't have a TV, so I don't watch TV. But I watch sometimes TV shows on Netflix, but actually it's more for me something to fall asleep than rather something to really have fun, you know. So I have a tendency to always watch the same thing because the point is to fall asleep, so I don't need to watch something new. So I've been watching the Gilmore Girls during years. I know all the texts, everything the actor says. I know everything by heart because I watched it so much. I also watched a lot How I Met Your Mother, that I loved a lot. Unfortunately, it's not on Netflix anymore. And then I wanted to change a little, and I decided to watch Gossip Girl. And I did a video when I talked about Gossip Girl. I will put the link below in the description box if it does interest you. And I came to this new TV show a little by the same way as I came to Gossip Girl. I wanted something new because I started being a little tired to watch always the same thing. And there was this Hart of Dixie popping up all the time in front of me. Every time I was going on Netflix, it was coming. And the first time I read the story, you know, short story to explain what it is, I was not really interested in it until I saw that the action was happening in Alabama. And I don't know why, but Alabama has always intrigued me, maybe because of the song, or I don't know. I also saw a movie about Alabama, and I think it's, in my mind, it's one of the poorest states in the US, but it's in the south. There is a big influence, French influence, because it's not very far from Louisiana, for example, and everything in the south intrigues me. I don't know for what reason, but I never went in except in South California, where I am, because I'm in Los Angeles, but it's not what we call the south, really the south of the US, and I never went there. So I was a little intrigued, and I thought, anyway, if I don't like it, I can just stop watching it. And I was taken in the action rather quickly, because when the main character, Zoe, when she arrives in Alabama, she's really in the middle of nowhere, and I have a tendency to be interested in the places which are in the middle of nowhere. I don't know why, it always fascinates me. I don't know. Often I think that we find treasures where it's the least expected. And I have also a tendency to not like so much the people who live in New York. I'm sorry, it's ridiculous to say that because all the people are not the same. It's just that when we have people arriving from New York here in Los Angeles, they are often a little snobbish and not very pleasant. So I have a tendency to put everybody in the same basket and say that New Yorkers are unpleasant. It's not true. It's not always true. It's false to say that. And I absolutely love New York. New York is really a beautiful city. But the contrast between New York and Alabama, that was what was interesting me. And I started watching, and I was taken in the action very, very quickly, and especially, again, I fell for the bad boy again. And like in Gossip Girl, when there is a bad boy somewhere, automatically it does interest me. I don't know why actually. When I say bad boy, it's bad boy because he looks bad, but he's not bad actually. The real bad boys, I don't like them, but let's say that it's a false bad boy. I started watching especially because the guy, Wilson Bethel, who plays Wade, looks a lot like a guy that I knew in France a very long time ago, and he really looks a lot like Hervé, an old friend of mine. And at the beginning I was just watching because I was really amazed by this resemblance, the way how much he was looking like my old friend. But little by little, it was not what was interesting me the most. It was more the character, Wade, Run Away from Wade. Suddenly I understood the concept of this song, which is sung in this TV show, Run Away from Wade, because you better run away from Wade because this character is rather addictive. I mean that we want to know him. We really want to know him because he's far from being stupid actually. He's far from being not responsible. He wants to look like that, but he's not. And there are different levels in this character, and that was interesting. Then of course I went to watch some interviews of the actor Wilson Bethel, thinking that he was really playing a role, a character, and he was very different in life, in the real life. And I was a little surprised to see that there is a lot of the actor in the character. Wade is not so far from Wilson, I would say. Of course, Wilson Bethel is not from the south. He's from New Hampshire, so it's completely different. He doesn't have a southern accent at all. But there is a lot of the personality, of the qualities of Wilson Bethel. We can see them in Wade character, except that the actor Wilson Bethel is probably more intellectual and even smarter than the character. There is something that Wilson Bethel said in an interview. He said, we don't, the audience doesn't want Zoe and Wade being together. They want them to poke at each other. And he's completely right, because what we like is the kind of nice fight that there is between the both, rather than a result of them being together and married with kids and all this thing. At the beginning I was chiefly interested in Wade, the character, and also I liked a lot the Rammer Jammer, the place where he works and then that he owns. I really like in the Gilmore Girls, you know, Luke has a diner, and I love these kind of places where people can go, a little like Cheers, you know, where the people can go and they find they're like a family and friends and they see each other every day. I miss that. I have some coffee shops and bar just beside my home, but I'm not the kind of girl going in bars alone, and I think that it would be a little weird, but I miss that because I would like to have a place, I would like to have a diner close to my home where I can go and I know everybody and I feel connected to people like friends or family. Little by little, I was wondering why I loved so much this show. So I discovered that the producer, I'm sorry, it's my cat who is in his litter. I discovered that the producer of Gossip Girl were the same as for Hart of Dixie. So that is interesting because it means it's not randomly that I love both TV shows. Obviously there is a link between both. There is also a link between the Gilmore Girls and Hart of Dixie because the gazebo is the same. Even the way of Bluebell, how it's organized, articulated around the gazebo, it makes me think of Stars Hollow. So I started thinking maybe I like the concept of a little town, which is weird for me because all my life I lived in Paris, which is a big city, And then in Los Angeles, which is even a bigger, it's even not a city, it's a megapole, it's huge. So why I'm living always in big places? Well, in Paris, you know, the city is big, but there are neighborhoods, and each neighborhood is a little like a little town, and everybody knows everybody. It's still smaller in Paris than in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles, it's so huge, and we are all so spread all over the place that we don't have this feeling of little town. But I realized that I liked this concept of little town where everybody knows everybody, and it's like a giant family living in the same place, and it's so charming, and people are so nice. Of course, in the small town, people are not always nice, and it's not always a paradise like in Bluebell or like in Stars Hollow. I would dream of living in a place like Stars Hollow in the Gilmore Girls, because it's so warming and so welcoming, and people are so nice, and they are so eccentric, and somehow in Bluebell they are very eccentric too. The costumes, the parades, all the events. I love that. We have events in Los Angeles too, but it's bigger and we know nobody, and it's completely different, and there is a lot of criminality, so we must always be afraid to, or be careful not to be attacked. I made a few researches about, I was wondering why the name Hart of Dixie. So Hart of Dixie, it's how we call Alabama. Heart like a heart, but for the TV show it's written Hart, H-A-R-T, because it's the name, the last name of Zoe Hart. But I was wondering why Alabama was called Hart of Dixie. I read that it's because they used to have notes, bills of $10, and 10 in French we say 10. It's so it's written D-I-X, and we say 10 in French. And 10, it means 10. Dixie comes from 10 in French. So I was very surprised that there was a link between Alabama and France and French and me. I thought maybe that's why I'm interested in Alabama. I didn't know that, but maybe I felt a link. I don't know. I just wanted to say that I absolutely love this TV show. I learned a lot about myself, what I loved, what I liked by watching this TV show, because I'm always thinking why I like that, why I want to watch it again. I already watched it 5 times, so it's rather short because there are only 4 seasons, unfortunately. But why do I like that? I hate humid weather, I don't like bugs, I don't like to be surrounded by frogs, alligators and snakes. You know, it's really not my thing. So of course I'm very interested by the history and why these people are doing this or that, or why they are wearing that, and why they have this tradition rather than this one, you know. And of course I like the story. It's also great, the idea of this guy who is across the pond, the water, and he's a neighbor, he's just there, and she lives here, he lives there, and he's the love of her life. We would like that something like that happens in real life. Unfortunately, if I go across my boulevard, the guy across the boulevard is creepy. All that to say that I'm very surprised by the kind of TV show that I like. While I was in Germany, I was watching with my son Breaking Bad, which is absolutely the contrary of what I usually watch, you know, and I loved it. It's very frightening, it's really scary. The story is not really joyful, but weirdly this TV show, Breaking Bad, gave me a lot of courage and strength. You watch Breaking Bad and you think in yourself, you think, I'm not sick. I don't think that I'm sick. everything is fine with me, so I cannot complain. I know that I don't want to be a drug dealer, that I wouldn't be able to do what he's doing, but I admire the courage of this character. But of course I cannot recognize myself in a TV show like Breaking Bad, because it's certainly not a story which would arrive to me in any circumstances. Hart of Dixie, of course I'm not living in Alabama. I don't have a neighbor who is absolutely charming. It's absolutely impossible to run away from Wade. When you have a neighbor like that, it's impossible to run away from him. But it's something which is closer to me. I mean that I could recognize someone like that. I could meet someone like that. Not like that, not exactly the same person. I mean someone charming, someone funny, someone who likes to laugh, someone who plays music. Oh yes, of course, he's a musician, so of course you fall for that. It's something which is already closer to me. It's something that I can recognize myself in that. It makes me think about, what do I want in my life? Do I want to live in a city where nobody knows nobody? But it's my fault also, because you know, in a big city like Los Angeles, when you work mostly online, for sure you don't meet people. So it's also my fault if I don't meet people. I must do more things where I meet people, because I'm not going to meet people in front of my computer unless I go on online dating, and that is something which really freak me out. Yeah, that is something which freaks me out a lot. When you watch, what I mean, I'm trying to say something. When we watch something, a TV show like that, and we think, I want to be there, we have an image in our head, like in the TV show. He says, if you don't like what you live and you have an image in your head and it doesn't correspond to what you live every day, or you change your image in your head, or you change what you live every day. Okay, I know what I like. I like nice people. I like to be surrounded with positive and nice people. I want to meet people, and not only guys. I mean, I want to meet all kinds of people, to talk, to exchange ideas and things like that. So I need to go more outside. I need to go and meet more people. It happens that I live in Los Angeles. My business is in Los Angeles. I'm not going to move to Alabama because I know that the humidity and the bugs and the animals are going to really scare me. So I want to stay here. I want to stay here. If the immigration let me stay here, I must find a way to make the image of the ideal life that I have in my head correspond to what I really live. So it means meeting more nice people. It means being more open to talk to people and to exchange with them, and not to be continuously on my computer. It means also be more open to something I'm not used to, maybe. But you know, American people often say that French guys are very different from the American one. That is weird, because that's maybe what I liked in Hart of Dixie, is that the guys there are not very different from the French guys that I know, you know. So I recognize the kind of sense of humor and the kind of guys that I used to know in France. So I don't think that there is a big difference between American guys and French guys. It's just a matter of finding the right guy. But I must find the right guy for me, which means a guy of my age, not a guy who could be my son, because then it would be weird. Wade or Wilson Bethel is really young. I have a son of the same age as this actor. So let's say that maybe I could date his father. There is the father in the TV show. I wouldn't mind dating the father. Anyway, I don't watch TV shows to know who I'm going to date or not date. It's just that it helps me to understand the relationship between man and woman, boyfriend and girlfriend. Because, of course, I've been married during 20 years and I was married before also during 7 years with another man. So I have two experiences. I cannot say that they were unhappy because every time it was not so bad, and the 20 years one was rather a good experience that I absolutely don't regret. When I got separated with my ex-husband after 20 years with him, I probably was very afraid to start again a relationship and to be hurt again. In the TV show they say you cannot hide all the time and refuse to take the risk to be hurt, because then you don't live fully. And I think it's totally right. Well, you see, you don't need to read Descartes or Proust or Pascal or all these philosophers or writers to hear or to read interesting things. I mean, even in a TV show you can hear something and suddenly, boom, you think, oh my God, that's true. I was hiding all these years. I've been working like crazy. I've been hiding behind my computer. Yeah, hiding to avoid the suffering, you know, but that is not life. There is a saying in French, we say it's better to have loved and lost rather than not to have loved at all. And I think it's true. I don't regret my 20 years with my ex-husband, and I don't regret the 7 first years with my first husband. They gave me 2 sons, and I'm glad to have these 2 sons. And now I would be glad to find someone who makes me laugh, and not only in a TV show, but in the real life. Someone who makes me laugh like I laughed by watching Wade without his shirt. He's shirtless all the time. And I don't mean that I absolutely want someone who has such a nice body. But someone who makes me laugh would be really nice. All that to say, I recommend Hart of Dixie. Unfortunately, it stopped at the 4th season, at the end of the 4th season. And I regret, because I would have loved to see more of Bluebell, more of Rammer Jammer, more of Wade and the other guys. Yeah, at a point she comes back from New York with another guy named Joel as they say. Actually it's Joel. And this guy is fantastic too. He's so nice, but it's not Wade. So Wade is played by Wilson Bethel, as I was saying. He's the one who created a stupid hype that you can find on internet if you are interested. So, of course, my camera stopped. I have no idea where it stopped exactly. I was just saying that Wilson Bethel is the one who created stupid hype that you can find online. It's basically a film which is cut in several episodes, and it's about breakdance, and it's supposed to happen in the 90s. It totally reminds me the kind of music that my sons used to listen when they were children, and I was listening that with them because I was always interested in what my kids were listening to. Oh, about the music in Hart of Dixie. At the beginning I didn't like it so much. There are a lot of famous songs in it, but at the beginning I was not super crazy about the music inside, especially that I loved a lot the music on Gossip Girl and also on Gilmore Girls. The musics are really good. But after a while, after watching Hart of Dixie a lot, I started liking the music in it, which is kind of country, and usually it's not really my type of music, but at a point I started liking it. So If you like the kind of country music, southern music, like Nashville music, or all this music from this area, you are going to love it. Anyway, I wanted to tell you, if you have the possibility to watch it, I will try to put links in the description box if I can. If you want to watch it, I recommend it. It's a good TV show. I recommend it. And the main actress, her name is Rachel Bilson. I think she plays Zoe. Okay, I see you very soon. Don't forget to subscribe if you didn't have yet, and like this video if you did. Thank you, bye bye.